Ad Infinitum is a psychological horror game taking place around World War I, from the perspective of a German soldier. I was able to finish the entire game in one sitting of 6 hours. You can check it out in the description below. But first, give me a few minutes to deliver you a basic overview of the gameplay and give it a rating for my shelf. Start out in a bunker as a soldier in charge of Morse code communications when the order to jump the trenches and take on the French has just come in. After a quick jaunt through the battlefield, you get to see war firsthand, before suddenly waking up in your home. The mansion is haunted by shouts and shadows, with your only choice being to follow them. Shortly into your adventure, you will find some instructions and enact a seance, throwing you down a terrifying rabbit hole of hell.
Oh, it's happening.
You will see a lot of blood in the game. Not from fighting. It's just kind of pooled around with some streaks on the floor here and there. And the story did go into some heavy adult situations. The biggest worry I would have would be the monster designs. They were grotesque and straight out of nightmares. Some of them even have some breathing problems that just added to the horror. I initially got Ad Infinitum for the fear factor it promised. There were a few really good jump scares and eerie moments from time to time, but the scariness was lost shortly in. Between the lengthy puzzle sections and getting lost, I stopped worrying about what was around the next corner and just ran everywhere. I was disappointed in how fast the fear factor drops off in the game. I really wanted to be scared. I realize most scary games lose that after you get used to it, but this didn't have much to make up for it. There aren't any fighting mechanics, so most of the time, if you want to get past an enemy, it would involve sneaking around and not making any noise. There was a little more to the game than sneaking around, but it felt like that would resolve most of the problems that arise when dealing with anything. They did add little things like hanging cans that would make a ruckus if you touched them, so there was a little more to think about than just crouching. Every section of the game involved at least one puzzle of some sort. Either scouring the area for the combination to a lock or trying to find items to move forward. There were a couple of times I got lost and couldn't figure out what I needed to do and got annoyed in the amount of time it took me to get through an area. A symbol would show up if there was something you could interact with, so it was fairly easy to find what you needed to do if you looked at everything. Rushing did tend to cost more time in the long run. During boss fights, or rather boss instances, you never really fight anything. There were some choices to be made on how to take them out. The choices you make will influence your story, so choose wisely. I didn't realize there were options until very late in the game in a boss area when a note came up saying, "The choices I make here matter." Had I known, I may have looked around a little more instead of running forward pushing buttons and stuff. The game can be vague if it weren't for all the notes you could pick up and read. And to add a little more to exploring, you can find dog tags lying around. There is a specific amount to find, so you may enjoy the scavenger hunt while moving forward. I personally didn't feel very compelled to collect everything. I did pick up a couple, but I didn't go out of my way searching.
It is a sign. I have been working on the dummy again.
My favorite part of the game, as well as chats, would have to be the dummy. Found early on, it will almost be stalking you throughout the entire game. Found in odd positions conveying some sort of emotion. Not physically, you only knew how it felt after you touched it. Trying to find the puppet turned into a fun game all in itself. Like I said before, I bought the game to get scared, and was subsequently disappointed. Between that and the lack of engaging mechanics, I didn't find a whole lot of enjoyment. Knowing that, let's get it rated and see where it ends up. A lot of the monsters in the game were visually great, but that was about it. There was a major lack of animation when accomplishing tasks, and overall, didn't look good. It's getting a 2. The story is really the only redeeming quality of the game. It was dark and harrowing, but well told. I really liked how the story unfolded and was impressed when everything started to fall together. I'm giving it a 4. The gameplay was lacking. The sneaking mechanics were basic, and trying to interact with some objects didn't work unless I was looking at the perfect spot. Worthy of a 1. There is a minor want to play through the game multiple times and make different choices, but the game wasn't good enough for me to want to see how the game changes. That's another 2. Sadly, I didn't really have fun. I was compelled to see the entire game through, so I pushed to finish it, but it wasn't great. I'm feeling another 1. Putting all the scores together gives Ad Infinitum an average score of 2. Meaning it belongs near the end of the bottom shelf. The game didn't quite deliver on what I bought it for, and I can see the work put into the game. I just wouldn't say it's worth the current asking price. Don't buy it expecting to be scared all night. Alright, now that I'm done with that, it's time to move on to the next one. I will see you there. Bye!